Welcome, healthy friends, to the reality of health. I know what you're thinking. Are we really going to go there? Talk about tattoos? Yeah, let's go there. I'm not going to down your tattoo. I don't care. I might or might not have them myself. I just want to give you perspective on what's in the ink. Because, you might think, what's wrong with the tattoo, Eric? What's wrong with getting whole body tattoos? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those. Knock yourself out. I'm going to talk about what's in the ink, because the content of what you put on your body doesn't really matter all that much. It matters to you. And it doesn't really matter to us, so whatever floats your boat. But do you know what's in the ink? Because this is important. You are literally injecting this under your skin into your body. Do you know what it's made out of? I'm just saying. Some of the stuff that's in these inks, no big deal. Other things, big deal. Now, this article here that Sarah Everetts wrote is spot on. So instead of going through a bunch of tabs like I usually do, I'm going to mostly pretty much read from a lot of this, but then I'm going to interject my thoughts on certain things she's talking about. That way, we stay more concise, and maybe we can come to an agreement that, yeah, Eric, I want my tattoo, and yes, I'm willing to inject ink that I don't know what it is, where it comes from, if it's regulated, and then I'm going to poke my skin with a needle like tens of thousands of times. I understand the risks. Well, do you? We're going to talk about them. All right, enough of the intro. Let's just get into it already. I like this article. It's pretty good. And I think it does a really good job. It's not too detailed. I'm going to get a little detailed. Otherwise, pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good article. What chemicals are in your tattoo? Well, they can be repurposed for the car, paint, plastics, and textile dye industries. And by the way, that's a really small list. It's in everything. Like your printer ink is made from these dyes. There are dyes that are mostly, they're not created to be a dye. They are the waste product of making other things. And that doesn't mean it's bad unless it is. There's lots of things we make and the byproducts are just fine. Actually might be healthy for you. But in this case, this is not great. Okay. I highlighted the things I want to talk about. This comes from the European Science Open Forum. Yes, this was done in Europe. Their standards for chemicals and toxicity is much higher than it is here. California's pretty good about it too. They really do care about the chemicals in the environment, in your food, in the things that you buy. It's worth listening to. Matter of fact, right now on the planet, they're doing the work. There we go. Knowing the ingredients and provenance of the colorful cocktail injected beneath the skin is not. They're talking about it's not commonplace to know. It's not widely known by the general public that the pigments found in tattoo inks can be repurposed from the textile, plastics, or car paint industry, said McGarry, who works at Joint Research Center. That becomes important because this article is from the European Science Open Forum and the Joint Research Center, which provides independent, scientific advice to the European Commission. Okay, you got it? Patchy, regulatory oversight of tattoo inks in the European Union, and about a tattooing culture in which consumers rarely question tattoo artists about the origin of the pigments that decorate their bodies. Yeah, we just don't think about it. We go, it's a big deal, so go get a tattoo. Couldn't be anything wrong with it. It's totally normal. Lots of people do it. Well, not a lot of people do it. Here's Europe. Only 12% of the people. Australia, about the same. New Zealand, 20%. United States, 21 to 24% of the people actually get a tattoo. In Canada, at 24%. So it's not as many people as you think. According to a report the GRC released this year, European regulators and others are concerned that pigments used in the formulation of tattoo and permanent makeup inks are not produced for such purpose and do not undergo any risk assessment that takes into account their injection into the human body for long-term permanence. Meaning, no one's really looked at it. So what are the risks? Well, we don't know. There's no money. There's no funding. We're just going to stick this into people and hope for the best. The report notes that in the US and Canada, policies that govern tattooing are also spotty. You think? In those countries, the procedure is regulated at state or provincial levels, generating, quote, a wide variety of guidelines and hygiene standards, which means they don't have a standard. It's all over the place. Nobody really knows. Ask your county. Ask your province. Providence? Yeah, Providence. What are the regulations for the type of ink that you're injecting into my body? Well, we don't really have any so much. I mean, we have some ideas. We have some thoughts. I don't know. What do other countries do? Well, they don't have the money either. So no one's really kind of putting it together. You see? This is the problem right here. No one is doing the research. Tattoo artists also have concerns. That makes sense. They don't want to hurt you. They kind of like you. You know, they make money from you and they get to do their art. They don't want to hurt you. Quote, there are certainly really good producers of ink, but some of the inks on the market weren't intended for tattooing. What were they intended for then? That's my question. They just put them in a fancy bottle, put a dragon on the bottle, and write tattoo on it, says Jens Bergstrom, who has been a tattoo artist for 20 years and owns the Heavenly Ink Tattoo and Piercing Studio in, I can't even pronounce that, Sweden. That's how easy it is. And that's the danger, said Bergstrom, who was a panelist at that ESOF conference. Yeah, so even the artists have a problem with this. You know, they're handling the stuff too. They don't want to get sick. And by the way, they also tattoo themselves, so they're kind of concerned with what they're seeing, especially when the artists that know about this stuff are saying, you know what? We don't know at all what's in this, what it's made of. Hey, what is that purple made out of? Well, I don't know. Something purple? Well, is it a mineral? Is it a chemical made in a lab? What is it? We're going to show you. Well, not totally show you, but I'm going to refer to some stuff. The 118-page JRC report, which compiled surveillance, ingredient analysis, and adverse reaction data, found that tattoo and permanent makeup products containing dangerous substances or contaminated by what? Microbes are available on the EU market. The main risks identified in descending order are the presence of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, primary aromatic amines, microorganisms, heavy metals, and preservatives. All right. This is the crux of why this episode exists. If you've made it this far, because a lot of you are just going to turn this off because you don't want to talk about your tattoo. You don't want to know what's in there. It's already done. It's permanent. Yeah, that's why it's important. When you're wondering why you don't feel well, this could be one of the reasons. When you wonder why you have a certain issue that is undiagnosed, it could be from these things. All of these things have side effects in the body. I'm going to kind of show you what's really going on. Bear with me. The main point is presence of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. What are hydrocarbons? Yeah, we're not going to get in the weeds on that one, but let's just say they're not good and they are deleterious to the body. Primary aromatic amines. Again, not going to go in the weeds because, when I started this whole thing, I said right off the bat from the very beginning, I'm not going to get into really long words and make things completely just so nerdy that you turn off, you don't want to listen. Just know they're not good. The things you do understand are things like microorganisms, heavy metals, and preservatives. Watch what happens when we go further. You're going to see this. Ready? Most consumers are aware of the infection risks, but few are aware of the chemical risks. Yes, they have no idea that there are chemical risks. But why do you get an infection why do some people get an infection when you get a tattoo? Could it be because you're puncturing the skin, number one, you're putting in microorganisms, heavy metals, and preservatives, and the body goes, whoa, wait a second. No. Nope, that's not how those things are supposed to go into my body. Now I have to call out the Navy SEALs, and they're going to rush to that area and do what they got to do to clean up that mess. That's called your terrain. That's exactly what happens. You can get, quote, infected from getting a tattoo. Are you actually infected? No, you're not infected. Your terrain is going there to clean up heavy metals, preservatives, microorganisms, and a bunch of other chemicals that are created and or in the ink. According to the JRC report from 2005 to 15, chemical ingredients were the primary concern in 95% of the 126 tattoo ink cases reported to the EU's rapid alert system for dangerous products. Erik, it's only 126 in those 10 years. Would you want to be one of those in the rapid alert system? You know what that is? Yeah, you don't want to be in that rapid alert system. That's really, really bad. Inks imported from the US were responsible for 2/3 of the tattoo-related alerts sent to the European authorities, the JRC reports. That means we are importing 2/3 of the tattoo reported alerts from our ink. Really? Oh, but American products are the best. They're fantastic. But apparently, we don't care about people who get tattoos. We're just shipping them ink. Ink is an amazing substance, and it can come from natural or chemical man-made substances. It can be very expensive. Inks throughout all of history sometimes were the most prized possessions, the most expensive things. Yeah. So a tattoo could have religious purposes because it was so expensive, or it had a godly further realm. I'm going to get there if I had these tattoos. There were so many reasons people did tattoos. Now we just do them for fashion, if you know what I mean. A further 1/4 of these problematic inks came from China, Japan, which blows my mind because Japan is very, very clean, and some European countries, while the provenance of 9% of products was unknown. They didn't know where it comes from. It could come from anywhere. Don't worry, customer. I'm going to use this green ink to do this thing on your body, this tattoo, and I don't know where the ink comes from. I don't know if it's America. I have no idea, but it's a really awesome green. So what do you mean you don't know where it comes from? What do you mean? So what is it? I don't know, but don't worry. I've used it before. We don't know. This is the problem. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm not dissing tattoos. I just want to know where the ink's coming from and is it healthy or not. According to the JRC report, the bulk of tattoo health complications involve allergic reactions and hypersensitivity, mostly in red or black areas tattoo. Complications involve allergic reactions. That's another term for your body went, whoa, what is this? I don't want it, and sends histamines there to solidify the area so that it can send the terrain there to eat it up and clean it up. Because remember, it's got a lot of heavy metals, and heavy metals, not good. Your body has to clean up heavy metals, and it causes a major reaction. We all know that heavy metals are carcinogenic. Well, look at this. So these pigments that these things are made out of, which I'll show you in a second, potential carcinogen. Yeah, they are definitely carcinogens. Dermatologist, let's say Jorgen Vendelskov syrup, I butchered that, of not even going to try, hospital, says he's cared for 500 plus problem tattoo cases. Syrup told ESOF attendees he's seen lumpy papulonodular skin elevation from pigment overload, chronic inflammation, long-term light sensitivity, and other side effects from tattooing. As a doctor, if you do a cosmetic procedure, by law, you have to tell the patients the risks. It's amazing that the same is not universally required in tattooing. Yeah, because they're injecting things into your body. It's like surgery. I had an episode on scarring, and I talked about tattoos. You are damaging your body by getting a tattoo. This is partially why. But this papular nodular skin elevation, I know somebody who has that right now. And yeah, way too much black ink. This is why. These are the weird things that happen. And you get pigment overload. You get inflamed. You could have other problems. The pink that I've done in here instead of the yellow is the most important things. Tattoo inks contain a cornucopia of compounds. Some 100 pigments and 100 additives have been found in these products. But I thought it was just green or purple or black. Why are there so many pigments and additives? Well, that's because most of these were not meant to go under your skin. They were meant to do all kinds of other things, like dye your jeans and not fade. Yeah, it's amazing. The top chemicals of concern found in tattoo inks, according to the report, are polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, such as benzoapyrene, which is listed as a human carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Yes, it's in there. It wasn't meant to go into your skin. The report notes PAHs can migrate from the skin to lymph nodes. That's a problem. Your lymph is kind of like the sewer system of your body. And if it gets overloaded with really bad toxins, that's a problem. Not going to get into that right now. These problematic chemicals are found mostly in black inks and are most likely impurities from industrial production. In fact, some tattoo formulations are only between 70, listen up, to 90% pure, the report says. Wait a minute. Then what's the other 10 to 30%? We have no idea. Nobody's testing for it. There's no regulations. So what did you just inject into me? I have no idea. Tattoo inks may also contain potentially harmful metal impurities such as chromium, nickel, copper, and cobalt. And by the way, you might say, Eric, it's copper. It's good for me. Chromium helps balance blood sugar. Well, that's not how you're supposed to get those. When you just put them right directly in your skin and not through digestion, bad things happen. Those are not good unless you consume them through food. This is bad right here. This right here is really bad. Tattoo pigments themselves can be health hazards. If the ink is really bright in color, it usually contains dangerous stuff. That's from Bergstrom himself. He even knows it's dangerous. Currently, stakeholders, that's the people who make all these inks, are more concerned about azo pigments, the organic pigments making up about 60% of the colorants in tattoo inks. Although many of these azo pigments are not of health concern while chemically intact, they can degrade with the help of bacteria or ultraviolet light into potentially cancer-causing primary aromatic amines. All right, that was a big one. I don't want to spend too much time on this one, but this is awesome. First of all, let's quickly show you what an AZO, let's just tell you about AZO. So this is leatherusa.org, and they're an information site about leather. I wanted to show you really quick here. So these are AZO dyes, and they're used to, they're like this. They dye all kinds of things. And I wanted to point this out to you right here. Some of the acid dyes used to color leather have been synthesized using one or more of the banned amines and may be converted back to the free amines by perspiration. Yep, you're adding moisture and you can change its activity and toxicity. And here we go. The carcinogenic aromatic amines used in producing the dyes may be released from a finished textile by, here it comes, perspiration or saliva, causing health risks from skin contact or ingestion. All right, if you know me at all, I have talked about toxins in your environment. Lots of toxins. Had episodes on this, and I keep saying you have toxins in your clothes, in your couch, in your car, all around you. Well, guess what? Even the shirt I'm wearing, which I wish it was linen and totally organic, is not. That blue that you see right there is probably in this shirt. Eric, you're always wearing that blue shirt. It's because of the background and the whole green screen thing. I don't only own blue shirts. But notice the perspiration or saliva. All right, so you're wearing that bra. You're wearing those spandex pants or whatever those things are called, yoga pants, jeans, that plastic polo shirt, that polyester suit, on and on. They have to color them. And when they use these dyes, it just said right there, they're released from perspiration or saliva. That makes carcinogenic aromatic amines. Yes. Azo dyes may contain any of more than 20 carcinogenic amines listed under California's Proposition 65, requiring the state to publish a list of chemicals known to cause cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive harm. These carcinogens have been banned in China, Japan, India, Vietnam, and the European Union. This is where I put my thinking cap on, and I say, wait a minute. Japan and China, didn't they already make these dyes like we just saw earlier? Interesting. So they make them, ship them, and then ban them in their own country. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think you get the point here. It's carcinogenic, and you just shoved it under your skin. Furthermore, during tattoo removal, by some surveys, up to 50% of tattoo owners come to regret their ink. I do. I'll admit it right here on the billions of listeners that I have. That's a joke. Lasers are often used to blast apart pigments, sending problematic degradation products into the body. You know they have no idea what those things are. They don't. They've admitted, we don't know what those are. They're problematic. We have no idea. That's another problem. So you don't know what you put in me because it was green or purple or whatever color. And then later I decide to get rid of it through laser. And then that's going to make an entire different, I don't believe in molecules and atoms. It's going to make a totally different other entity of whatever that is. And that could have even more negative impact in my body. Researchers don't know how these degradation products are distributed in the body and how they get excreted. Meisner said, there's a knowledge gap about metabolism of ingredients. Yes, there is, and I would say that if it's water soluble or oil soluble, there are ways to get rid of it. I think the body has a very hard time getting rid of it. Partially may not even get out of the body. You could retain all of it in whatever form it was after it was degraded. We don't know. See, we just don't know. And this is why sometimes you need to ask the question, do I really need a tattoo? Do I really need to do this or that? What's the outcome? Well, we don't know. Probably shouldn't do it. Another problematic component of tattoo inks is the preservatives that can be added to keep microbes from growing in the often nutrient-rich solutions. Nutrient-rich solutions is you. And why are microbes growing? Because there's poisons there and your terrain needs to clean it up. So bacteria and mold and yeast go there to eat up these poisons. And when they do that, we've talked about this 1,000 times now, they are going to defecate and urinate and you're going to feel it. That's all that is. You did a tattoo or later try to get rid of it, and the microbes, meaning your terrain, has to clean up the mess. It's not going to feel good. In one survey of 229 tattoo inks, think about that. How many tattoo inks are there? I mean, think about that. Like, tattoos parlors aren't like in every single corner. So if you were to say, how many gas stations are there? How many gas companies? You could probably name in America 15 total. They got 230 tattoo inks. Nearly a quarter of inks analyzed contain the antiseptic benzoisothiazolinone, which is a skin irritant. Also, 7% of inks in the study contain the preservative formaldehyde, which is classified as a carcinogen. Yes. Do you know what stops your terrain from functioning? Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is the only substance we know of that stops your somatids, your microzymas, from turning into what they need to turn into in order to clean up the mess. That's why you can take an organ or tissue, put it into formaldehyde in a jar, and it does not degrade. That's why. Prospective epidemiological studies would be needed to ascertain the risk of carcinogenicity from tattoo ink's constituents, including their degradation products. That means they're not doing it. They're not at all. They don't have the money. We are facing a tremendous knowledge gap. This is why it is so difficult to develop regulations, because there's no money. They don't want to follow the terrain theory. It's not a theory. It actually works. They don't understand that when you inject things under the skin and it's a toxin, that the body needs to react. And they're saying, well, we know it causes cancer, we're just not sure why. It's incredible. In 2008, the Council of Europe, an organization focused on promoting human rights and the integration of regulatory functions in the continent, recommended policies to ensure the safety of tattoos and permanent makeup. All right, we're on to something. This document listed 62 chemicals that should not be present in tattoos and permanent makeup products. It also recommends that tattoo ink bottles should list best before dates, I agree, batch numbers, 100% agree, and the name and address of the manufacturer or the person responsible for placing the product on the market, among other things. That's called a label, which we have on many things, like your food, supplements, and drugs, and everything else. But apparently, if you put it in a gun and shoot it under your skin, you don't have to tell anybody any of this stuff. You see where I'm going with this? Yeah, I'm sarcastic, because this is the stuff that bothers me. You think, I'm just going to get a tattoo. Me and my wife are getting a tattoo, or, me and my buddies. And then you find out you have no idea what you just put in your body, and neither do they. You see? Germany has made it illegal for tattoo inks in the country to contain any chemicals on the Council of Europe's list of substances banned in cosmetics. Yeah, they're getting serious. What is not safe on the skin is not safe in the skin, Germany's Meisner said. Hear, hear. That should be true for just about anything. Like all the cosmetics and all the soaps and the lotions and the makeup and everything else you put on your skin. I preach it all the time because, you're absorbing all that, and then you got to deal with it. We have not done, this is awesome, we have not done any market surveillance in the UK, said Richard Pinchin of UK Market Surveillance Representative at the ESOF conference. I'm very concerned about the amount of potential counterfeit inks that are on the marketplace and all these do-it-yourself kits that are available. Yeah, counterfeit inks. Don't worry. I know exactly where my ink is coming from. Okay. Hold them responsible if you're going to get one done by your artist. Why not? Nobody gets forced to have a tattoo, so it's in your own interest as a consumer to ask questions. If the tattoo artist can answer your questions and produce some documents regarding the ink, that's a good thing, Bergstrom said. Remember, he's the artist. As a practitioner, it is my responsibility, yes, it is, that I produce as low a risk as possible. 100% you should do that. That applies to anybody putting anything in your body, like injections or pills. I'm trying to be PC here. But he added, don't just take for granted that all tattoo artists are good or all inks are good. You are also responsible for your own health. Yes, that is great advice. And so I'm trying to bring awareness to you that that's exactly the point of this whole thing. You need to take responsibility for the inks you're putting in your body. Yeah, go ahead, get that tattoo. Check it out. There are apparently organic and natural and vegan and yada yada inks that you can put in your body. My point is anything injected under the skin your body will attack because it's not supposed to do that. That's why you have skin. It's trying to keep everything in and protect you from outside and do all kinds of wonderful things. And when you go, nah, I'm just going to put this foreign substance right inside of it, your skin's going to say, wait a minute, what the heck is this? I don't want this stuff. And it's going to do something about it. Erik, you understand, I've got tattoos, never had a problem. Well, what about arthritis, digestive complaints, brain issues, mental health? You get sick all the time. The list is endless. You put your body into a state where it's trying to clean itself up. Well, the sun is what bleaches these tattoos out. What if the sun never gets to those tattoos and they bleach out? Where do you think that ink is going? Doesn't take much ink. Same with the fillings in your teeth. Doesn't take much to cause a real problem. Your body has to fight against those heavy metals, the preservatives, and everything else in those inks. And you can feel it. I'm just saying. I know cultures do it around the world forever. Most of those cultures use natural, very natural things, and they also lead a really healthy life. Probably doesn't affect them the way it does us. We don't live good, healthy lives here in the first world. Therefore, you get tattoos, could cause a problem. Not anti-tattoo. I just want, and that's true for everything I talk about. I'm not anti-marijuana. I'm not anti all this stuff. You can do whatever you want to do. I just want you to be informed of what you're doing. Then you can make your choice to do whatever it is. I like topics like this because people don't really think about stuff like this until it's too late. Well, that's my take on tattoo ink. If you have any other suggestions for topics, let me know. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves.